Okay. All right, we're back. Now we just had a million homes lost. The money George Bush gave as he walked out the door, the money George Bush gave to his banker buddies would have paid off every mortgage in America and set every American free of the banks. Instead, they gave the money to the banks. The people that owned the houses couldn't make the payments, couldn't get a job because all the jobs have been shipped away. And they've been weakened and dumbed down by the fluoride and everything else.
Right. Well, see, by prohibiting the financial institutions from reselling residential mortgages that are not 30-year fixed-rate mortgages, so force these institutions to keep onto themselves all the risk inherent in promoting risky financial instruments such as the selling of this property. But what we're doing basically is we're knocking off 40% of the price of the home, and we're funding it through our Social Security Trust Fund, which the United States has and probably uses at the moment for war or for weapons development or for space research or whatever. All we're doing, Clayton, is we're just restructuring our system to pay for the things that need to be paid for rather than negating those things and causing our housing market to crash, causing our health insurance to go through the ceiling, and causing our education to fail. The only reason these three areas are failing is because we haven't been funding them within our government for so long. So they're at a point in time now where it really looks bad. But under the subprime mortgage solution, what we do is we discount the homes 40%, and this allows the holder 60 cents on the dollar for himself, so he can sell the place, get out from under it, or he can renegotiate it at a 5% interest for the next 30 years, which will actually lower the amount of money that he's spending each month for his residence and allow him to spend it in other areas. But this plan is the only viable solution to anything that has to do with our homes, because otherwise, what else are we going to do? We can't allow our homes to be mowed down and flattened just because no one's living in them, and that's another stupid thing to do.
If we restored what Brad Pitt tried to do in New Orleans, and I'm not sure how this turned out, but he went in and refurbished some of the homes and did it in an energy efficient manner with solar and wind on the roofs. And the homes became wage earners. By selling the electricity back to the power companies, the homes actually became a profit center and supported itself for the inhabitants.
Right. Well, it's also important to emphasize that the Social Security-owned mortgages that are now based on the true value of the property, see, and right now at the moment they're not. They're based on this inflated price that's just pumped them all way past the believable mark, you know. And the whole thing was they were kept selling for more and more and more, and telling the people that they're going to make more money every time they sell it, rather than the old idea of move into a house and you're going to be there for 20, 30 years, and this is the best place you can be because you don't have to pay rent, which is gone every month. But they just kind of resold the whole idea of buying a house with the intention of selling it rather than buying it to stay there. So that's part of the problem. But I think that this plan, which has been put forth by a man out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, is the best thing I can think of at the moment. I mean, sure you can.
How would he fund that? How would he get the houses?
Well, this funding will be taken from our Social Security funding, and the thing about it is, every time a home is sold, the Social Security Fund realizes 50% profit on the expense of the house, the sale of the house. So the money is put back into the Social Security Fund with interest, and so it's actually building our Social Security Fund. We're just using it at the moment because that's where we're going to take the expenditures out of. But this will be a growing thing, and it will not be used to finance homes forever and ever. It's just used to bail us out at the moment, because that's where our main pot of money is going to be sitting at, is in our Social Security fund. But also, at the moment here, we are involved in all kinds of different activity, militarily-wise, in more countries in the world than I can even believe. And it's more or less just to have our men stationed over there and our guns and everything, in case there's an uprising, or in case they want to make a difference in the way things are run in that country of the world. Now, if I get into office, we're immediately recalling all of our military back home here to fix up our roads, first of all, and our highways and interstates, and then we're going to station them around the country for the inevitable flip, which is coming in about 5 years. But all these things that we're spending our money for at the moment, Clayton, will all just be wiped off the table, because we won't need to be doing those things as a country. We won't need to be enforcing our rules and regulations around the world. So that's gonna loosen up a lot of our budget. I mean, they figure 35% of our GNP is spent abroad and on military. So 35%, we can get that homeowners market back up and running real quick with 35% of our GNP. But it's just a question of changing our direction, changing what we're doing, and in doing so, we'll resurrect our fallen economy almost within a year or two, I would say.
If we restored, let the farmers and subsidize the farmers to help them restart these farms in the forms of Liberty Villages, I would say, and we were growing hemp here, our economy would be turned around in a heartbeat. If all of those places were backed by, if the government would help individuals be individuals, but that's not the way it's done. I mean, this whole thing, all these congressmen right now are working for the banksters to keep things going, keep the economy going, keep it just the way they want it. So they're milking us, loaning us money to do it, and then drawing the interest on it. I mean, it's such a scam.
Well, you know what, Clayton? They say they keep it going, but they keep it going down. It's going down the tubes fast. And they've been working at this for several years now. But we want it to go up. We want it to come back up and continue up. And then my dream is to one day, and not too long, lead the world in manufacturing, production, intelligent use of materials. And see, that's one thing we never did here in America. We never used our materials intelligently. We got producing stuff so fast and so furiously that then the next thing we do, they're exporting our production. So we never really considered as a nation what we were doing as far as our manufacturing and production goes. So this is another key point of contention here, which has got to be ironed out and made to work right, and that is specifically the hemp plant. The hemp plant can be reused and used and used again and again, and I know the estimations now are that we only have 3% of our population as in the farming industry, but that could change overnight. We could up that to 30% of our population could be in the farming industry by educating our children in as far as plants and growing, and all these things could be taught in schools. And I believe in converting all of our shopping centers into grow facilities all year round, indoors and outdoors. And the school children can attend classes there and be raising the food that they're eating every night on the dinner table. So all these things, these are the real tactics which really now need to be implemented into the society that we exist in. And
that's a real interesting. Now you just brought up something that I hadn't even thought about. If you took a shopping mall and you can actually keep it as a mall and turn the middle of it and the inside of it into a garden.
Exactly. 3-foot deep grow boxes of soil, black soil, the best you can get, and you rotate your crops, and you move them around on these big tanks between all the stores, and that's where you grow all your food
now,
at.
there's also something that we're trying to incorporate. I've got somebody drawing up the plans for the Liberty Village concept, and that would be aquaponics. Aquaponics. This is combining fish with the water that flows through the hydroponics gardens. That way you're raising your protein and you're raising your clean vegetables at the same time.
Right. Well, all these things are possible, Clayton. All these things are possible. I would actually like to see free hydrogen fill-up stations all across the country, and all you need to do to make hydrogen is you just use your electricity in your water and you separate it, and you got free hydrogen refill stations all across the country on all the highways. Free! You can just pull up your car and fill up your system with free hydrogen. And this could be, like I say, taken off our electrical grid lines and caused to happen right there at the locations. And it's just amazing to sit here in the evenings myself and read through this different piles and piles of material and then close my eyes and just imagine what could be in less than a year and a half. I feel as though this could ignite the differential in all the people we have in this country, whether they're red or yellow or brown or black or white. We all got the same color blood. We all need to eat food, and we all enjoy the same basic tenements in life. So I think we can all put our differences aside for a while, and everyone knows what they're raised with to believe in grade school and at home is a bunch of watered down bull crap. So,
well, this is a real ingrained system. I mean, it's been going on for the last 100 years.
Oh yeah, longer than that even, longer than that. But part of the problem has been the communication. We haven't had online communication until just recently. We haven't had programs such as yours here today till just the last couple of years. And this is the essence of making something this big work, is the communications between people and their understanding of what's really going on. Now,
you know, I'm working on an article right now, and it's really getting a little bit more severe worldwide. I mean, what's happening right now over in Israel? The Israeli troops shot hundreds of Palestinians trying to force their way across. We've got the people in Indiana protesting this whole Fourth Amendment violation by their courts. And so we got Palestinian protesters moving down in Israel, Lebanon, wars expanded from Iraq and Afghanistan into Pakistan. And I love this, our alliance via John McCain shaking hands with the infamous demons we know as Al-Qaeda in Libya. That's really the confirmation this has always been Al-CIA, duh, and the warfare by deception, Mossad.
Just another one of their tactics. They're actually pretty well practiced.
Well, now wait. Here's the reason, folks. Here's the reason. Our troops are in Afghanistan, and we have total control of the #1 source of heroin in the world. Damn those Taliban. We were doing fine until they started to destroy the poppies, forced us to intervene. And, you know, Gaddafi, he turned into a do-gooder, too, with that underground river he built without IMF money. You know. And the mainstream media covered none of this. And the CBS 60 Minutes thing chose to deal with the subject I'd written about in detail. That's the death and demonization of Jerry and Joe Kane. That story appeared in Veterans Today. But 60 Minutes asked none of those questions. So what they've done is demonize sovereign citizens now, that dangerous breed of violent misfits, conspiracy theorists, domestic terrorists, paper terrorists, and filing liens against city and county state officials. Oh my God, you know, they are really heating this up, and now they've shot this poor Marine down here over a drug charge. We have been putting the wrong people in jail. The Mossad, the CIA are running the drugs. Our government is creating the heroin and putting that. You know, so we've been putting the wrong people in jail, man. We've been putting the users, not the people that are bringing it in.
Well, we're actually incarcerating all the exactly wrong people, and I've never really believed in incarcerating anyone. I always thought the old work farms was a lot better idea for someone who had to do time for some infraction of the law, rather than just locking them up. The biggest insult to me is the fact that Charles Manson's still looking out of his prison bars and applying for parole. That's the biggest slap in the face to me, you know. A man who instrumented the types of things that he did here in Los Angeles back in the 60s, 70s. It's just incredible that he's still alive. But there's a lot of people that murder people, get out of jail in 5 to 7 years. You can go murder somebody at a grocery store, trying to hold up $100, and you get out of jail in 7 years. It's just ridiculous. What we need to do is we need to start eliminating the people who are causing this disruption in our society by their own personal behaviors. Anyone who is going to take anyone's life. You
mean like the president of the IMF?
I'm not sure exactly what.
Oh, well, that's the guy that raped the hotel maid. You know.
Oh, yeah. That man should be put to death.
The head of IMF being held on Rikers Island. Now, we finally got one of the right ones in jail. Especially when you got it all on camera. There's not even a question that what happened. Lawyers can talk all they want, but if you can see a tape and you understand from witnesses and from the person who is accusing the individual of doing such a crime, you know, there's no question about it. You don't need 10 people or 12 people on a jury to decide whether the guy's innocent or guilty. You know, that's a point now. There's this thing about this fisherman's tax reform. If the corporations were held to the same standards as the people, and just because Bernie Madoff made a lot of money, stole a lot of money, you know, don't mean he should benefit or profit from it. So we've got to go after these banksters. We've got to audit the Fed. We've got to find out how much money the whole idea of usury by the Federal Reserve loaning us our money. You want to loan me money, my own money from my own country?
Well, we also need to establish in this country a department which only checks and oversees our elected officials, like an internal FBI, you know, that'll just take care of the elected officials. That is making sure that their policies and their plans and everything they're doing is all on the up and up, and give the public a transparency as to who they elected and just what's going on. I don't like the fact that someone gets elected and then 2 years later you find out that they're not doing anything that they proposed to get that seat. You know, that's a ripoff. That's a lie to the populace, and they voted for that individual and put him into office. So we need an internal force that will regulate our elected officials, and that's more important than keeping the populace locked up.
That's a real good point. I mean, I have wondered now if I don't believe I'm the only one. I don't believe you and I are the only ones out there that have the the right idea on things. And I've been talking with veterans today. I've been talking with the Oath Keepers, and there's people at the top and high up that are on our side, that understand we're not talking about revolution. This is our country. It's a republic if we can keep it, and we're just trying to keep it. That's all.
Yeah, and we're trying to make it better. We're trying to rebuild and improve, so to speak, the ways that have always been going on here. But with a few of these changes, just what we talked about today here on the show, with a few of these things enacted and put in place, I think the whole system would resurrect itself and come right around to full sail in the right direction again. And like I say, with hemp being legalized, it would just pump so much into our system as far as production, different companies would sprout up all over, probably right near the hemp fields where it's being grown. It could be grown down the middle of our freeways everywhere. It would save on traffic accidents by slowing the vehicles down that, were going off the road and whatnot. You probably would suffer very few deaths. We also need to, change a few of the things we're doing, like drinking alcohol and operating a motor vehicle. That has to be a number one priority to get the country running right. But these ideas we talked about today, they're so simple. They're not any genius type of ideas. But if we do them and we do them all together, we can have it all back what we've seen so far in our lives. But if we don't, it's all going down the tubes. I can tell you that. But at least we've enjoyed our lives to the degree we have, and we're as old as we are. And
well, I still enjoy mine, and I think the secret here is that we have to learn to enjoy the battle. Hey, we're going to war tomorrow. Yeah. These guys are trying to kill us, but guess what? I'm going to sit back here. I'm gonna smoke my cigar. I'm gonna drink my coffee, and I'm gonna figure out a way to stop them. Yep.
Well, the way we stop them is we just get the vote. We've got to get the vote. I could talk all day.
I think this next election, we need to vote with our feet. I think we need to walk into Washington and say, we're voting for him. Mm-hmm. And we're going to replace all of you. We're going to replace all of you with new people, with an old script. It's called the Constitution. It's called the Bill of Rights. You guys have violated it. You violated your oath. We're going to put you on trial. I think
we're going to hang you.
We'll give you tomorrow. Yeah, only after a fair trial.
Only after a fair trial, we're going to hang you.
And guess what, guys? We're going to do it with American-made hemp rope. That's right. We may do it.
The highest tree.
We may have to do it with Canadian rope right now, but that won't last long. That won't last long.
Only for the moment.
And David, They know that. They know. I'm not pulling a gun out and going up and shooting somebody. That ain't the way to do this. That makes us as evil as the people that are trying to do it to us.
Right. Well, I'm reading on the chat board here. Jerry LT says we would need no migrant workers if we put our jail inmates to work on farms. And that's exactly what I'm proposing we do.
I'm proposing, for the start here, I'm proposing to let ex-cons, homeless, and veterans, especially veterans, starting with veterans. To be a homeless veteran right now is absolutely the saddest thing in the world. Now we got an obligation to take care of them in a way that's beneficial for everybody. And we can do that with the Liberty Villages. We can do that. We can give them the structures. We got inexpensive structures. We've got land being donated to us. We can do this. And yeah, as long as you pull those weeds, milk those goats, and guard the place, you got a place to stay.
Sure. Well, I could see us, just to get started, first of all, we have to plant hemp, and we have to have fields and fields of it, and we're going to have set up facilities for workers to manufacture products from this hemp, but we also need to supply the labor to grow it and to harvest it and whatnot. And all of this could be set up by these villages that you talk about. Could be set up, permanently or temporarily in different areas of the country where this production is taking place. And
you've got both. You got them both. They're open to the public, so anybody can stop in and see how a farm works, see all the stuff that's made out of the hemp,
Sure.
And also you've got the people that live there and work there, and they can do it without paying, You go out, you get married, you go out and buy $100,000 house. You sleep in one friggin' room, and you pay the banks an extra $200,000, while you're growing old.
Right.
Something wrong with that. Something wrong with that, and we can change that. We can change that by working together, by building together, by putting a barn, raising a barn up here, you know, working with your neighbors, you know, drinking the Kool-Aid, drinking the lemon juice, you know, that your ladies are made. Yeah.
You can change everything overnight. But once again, I'd like to ask your listeners out there to pull up www.serioustaxreform.com, and that's where you'll read about the Fisherman's Framework for Tax Reform, and that's on your internet. Or you can go to the YouTube and pull up the Fisherman's Framework for Tax Reform also there. It's got about 3 or 4 videos where Mark Fishman is interviewed and discusses some of the specific points. But just to once again let your listeners know that I also have information concerning the new cure for cancer, which is just the altering the molecular spin of the electron in the fluids that you drink every day. That's where we're catching it from, and that's where it's developing from. But
I am demonstrating here. I've got my coffee cup with my hand in through the mug handle, and my other hand on the other side with one finger raised and 3 fingers together.
You know how easy it is now. You know how simple it is. If every man and woman and child in this country could start self-influencing their fluid before they drink it, they'd all get a lot smarter real quick. And I think that's what's going to happen. We're all getting smarter quicker and quicker. So I'd like to thank you once again, Clayton, for today's program. And I enjoyed being on your show more than anyone else's, because we're always breaking new ground, and we're always talking about things that really matter, you know, really matter to every person out there. And so thank you so very much, and I appreciate all your time.
Well, my pleasure. Gary said on the chat room, Doc needs a running mate. How about it, Clay? I said, I'm already running it.
We're all running. Well, I just want to let your listeners know that I have sent Jesse Ventura a letter of introduction in a free book about 3 years ago, and asked him on board as my vice presidential candidate, but I haven't heard back from him yet, so we don't know.
Well,
so
you may get a chance to ask him about June 6th.
That's what I'm hoping for. But if he gets on board, we got a surefire team here, because he's got a lot of popular support already. I know from his governorship in Minnesota, and
yeah, he's got a pretty good handle on it. You know, I appreciate his look on conspiracies. Of course, I do have one question for him. You know, is there one conspiracy that's too hot for you to handle?
I think there is. I think that's the one that has to do with the Greys that are at the underground base at near Dulce, New Mexico. That's one that it's going to take a little bit of polish before anybody wants to handle that one.
I interviewed Phil Schneider a long time ago before they murdered him, but
that's the one subject matter which is a little bit too hot for anyone to handle. But
all right, we're out of time, and your book is right up on my site. My books are up on the site, folks. Order some books. Support the people that are working for you, trying to get things done, trying to make things happen. You know, I'm working with the Oath Keepers to get a location here in Tucson, helping any way I can. We all need to kind of get that spirit. You know, there's a lot of different issues here, man. You know, you're sitting over there going, well, Clay smokes pot. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You know, and guess what, man? I've drank alcohol too. You know, so what? So what? That's not you know, you want to take a Valium and sit over there and criticize me? You can kiss my ass.
Well, I tell them the alcohol is depressing, but the marijuana is inspirational.
That's right. That's right. And it is my friend Jack Hara, who I supported while he was doing this, while he was writing The Emperor Wears No Clothes. You know, he said it can save the world, and it truly can, folks. But you need to know what the world's like. You can do that by getting the my book, Mystery Babylon. If you get Mystery Babylon, you'll understand what the banksters are doing, how they're doing it, and what the plan is for Homeland Security. And you'll know the truth about the drugs. We need to legalize all the drugs because right now the CIA and the Mossad are making all the money off of it, and they're putting you in prison after they bring it into this country and sell it to you. Come on. Wise up. All right. David